This week on the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast.
Guys, that is thinking outside the box right there. That is amazing. I never would have thought of something like that.
Because, I mean, I could have just gave her money back, but I said, give me a couple days to see if I can fix this.
Hi, I'm Chad the Quirky Picker. I'm a full-time reseller from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Hi everyone, I'm Denis the Free King Flipper. I'm a full-time reseller from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
I'm an everything seller, but I love to sell all kinds of electronics and anything unique and vintage.
I'm an everything seller as well, but I really enjoy finding and flipping our vintage toys, Sony Walkmans, vintage electronics.
Join us each week as we discuss life as a full-time reseller. We will share our experiences, both the good and the not so good.
Learn from our expertise and our mistakes.
From sourcing to listing to shipping,
customer interactions, we will cover it all.
This is the Full-Time Flippers
Reselling Podcast.
Full-Time Flippers Podcast, Episode 4. I'm Chad the Quirky Picker, and I'm here with my co-host.
Denis, the Free King Flipper. What's up?
Hey, Denis. Long time no see.
It was like that.
7 days. Yeah, I know.
This week flew.
Yeah. And that's just life in general, isn't it? The older you get, the faster the days go.
Agreed.
I'm just glad the winter is going fast. The faster the weeks go, the faster spring and summer can get here. So I'm all for it in the winter. Did you have a good week?
I had the classic roller coaster week. I had a couple of really good days and a couple of they just shut my store off type of days. One of them being today. There's just nobody buying anything other than the sales, or like I said, just up and down. No rhyme or reason. I did get to do a private pick, kind of like a clean out type of thing. And that was a lot of fun. I posted some of the pictures on Instagram, but I went and just decided to help this person out, move some stuff out of the attic. Did bash my head on the low beams like twice.
How tall are you?
I'm only 5'11", but this thing is an older house, and it was pitched like that. So yeah. You're trying to crawl through it, and then with the hat, I couldn't see up, and boom. But I ended up filling the back of my truck with stuff. She was happy; she just wanted it gone, and I'm still digging through it. But I found some old tin toys, a jar with a bunch of 80s. I think they were 90s actually. Late 80s, early 90s G.I. Joes. So the small, the 3.75, the ones that from our era. And that was cool. That was a cool find. I was not expecting something like that. And then tons of MCM, mid-century modern, knickknacks, glassware, mugs, figurines, that stuff. I love that stuff.
MCM's hot.
It's really fun, and it's very cool when you find pieces like that. A Finland-made enameled bowls, real thin metal bowls, a little bigger than a cereal bowl, and then they're enameled. And there's some name on it. I'll have to get it for you, but there was 6 of those, and I'm like, whoa, it's $30 a piece. Wow. So again, I look everything up because the stuff that I think is worth money is not, and then the stuff that I'm like, oh, this is probably trash. No. So everything that has a label, or I'll do Google and take the picture. So I'm having a lot of fun going through it, but that was the highlight of the week.
I didn't have a good week at all. Sales wise, it was my last payout from eBay was my lowest payout in over a year.
Ooh,
that's crazy. Like I said, a couple weeks, even last week, I said, I'm selling a bunch of low dollar items, and it just hasn't changed yet. And so I don't know how much of the issue is me and how much of the issue is the algorithms. I've been working on my taxes. I'm still not done with my taxes yet. Have you done your taxes yet?
We finished this week. I think it was a Tuesday night. TurboTax. My wife is my bookkeeper, so she had everything all set up to go, and it didn't take long. It was 2.5 hours, something right around there.
Yeah. You use TurboTax. You use that every year?
Yeah. Yeah, we like it. It's it acts, as if, or asks you all the questions if you're not going to remember from year to year,
Right.
and year to year, it actually has all the stuff, you know, this is what you did last year. This is what you filled in here. It's great. I mean, it saves you a lot of time. I think we cost $160, something right around there to do. And we did the state tax, federal tax, and then we did married filing jointly, and then the business part. So
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I have an accountant that's a friend of mine. So she knows all, I mean, she has saved me so much money by using her that it's worth it. But I don't know if TurboTax would have caught some of the things that she caught just because she knows us personally, especially with we fostered to adopt. And so there's a whole bunch of tax credits involved with that I don't know how TurboTax would have handled. Maybe they would have handled just fine. I don't know. But once all those credits and everything are out of the way, I could consider using TurboTax going forward. Is it really good for resellers, would you say?
Yeah, I mean,
intelligent.
It's not as super in depth like an accountant would be, but it treats it like a business. If it's a business, it asks you for all the deductions, the write-offs, the inventory. And I mean, it knows what an online seller is, so it has the applicable questions that you would need to fill in for that. So
yeah, okay, I'll check it out for next year.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys use in the comments if you do TurboTax or an accountant, pros and cons, and what you guys think.
Yeah. Right before recording this, I just got back from a yard sale, a state sale, yard sale, about like 10 minutes before we started recording. And they had the estate sale looked amazing. There was lots of rare books, rare horror VHS tapes.
Oh, yeah.
A huge lot. And then there was a bunch of like books on like Fenton glass and like how to identify different makers marks and years and all these different glass books. There was probably a whole bookshelf with like 30 different books. And there was some rare books that were, I think at least the title was in German. I don't know if what all was in German about the books, but doing some comps on eBay, because this was an online auction that I was bidding on this stuff, and then you go pick it up live in person. There was like a set of 7 books, and like 2 of them had shown sales in the last 3 years on eBay, and not many. Like there had just been a few, and they were selling between $30 to $90, I think, in a range. Just and I think some of them might have took an offer. Sometimes it shows you you don't know what the actual price was, so you look it up in Terapeak. But like 5 of the books, either 4 or 5, weren't even listed on eBay as available or sold in the last 3 years. And I'm like, well, if the ones that have that good a value, then I bet the ones that haven't been listed are so scarce that they would probably go for more. Right. And I bid up quite a bit on the estate sale, and then my wife and I were in the car, and I'm like trying to drive, and bid at the same time on these auctions. It was coming down to the last 4 minutes. And we were driving by, and someone had a free chair sitting out in front of their yard. And my wife's like, go back. I'm like, what? That chair back there? I've been looking for a chair just like that. So I turn around, I go back, and we're looking at this chair. And we had been looking for a chair real similar to this for a long time. And I got back in the car and I looked at my phone. I'm like, I totally forgot about this auction. Like I was going to start bidding more on these books, and I got distracted. And so they went, the whole set went for like $75. That was my last bid. Someone bid like $77.
How high would you have gone?
Probably 100. I would have kept bidding smalls, just trying to see how far the other guy would go. I don't like to just put like $125 bid in. No, I don't know. I want the other guy to think that I'm almost to the end of my rope, and then see how long they bid, and I can kind of sense if they're almost to the end of their rope. So, I didn't get anything, but I went to the yard sale portion of it today, and I picked up a lot of personal items, like Band-Aids or printer paper, lots of windshield wiper fluid. They're all things that they have no resale value, but I'm going to have to go to a store and buy them at some point. And so if I get I probably got $50 worth of Band-Aids They had just so many Band-Aids, and I'm like, we're going to use them eventually. So I can either go and spend $50 on Amazon over the next year to buy Band-Aids as we need them, or I get all these Band-Aids. I got them all for like $1 or $2, maybe, when you add it all up and try to itemize things out.
Yeah.
So I'm actually making money, even if I'm not buying stuff to resell. So that's something doesn't get talked about a lot, but I buy personal stuff all the time.
I do too.
I make a huge pile of stuff, and like maybe 25% of it's stuff that I know I'm going to need. So why not throw it in?
I'm not going to resell it, but I'm going to use it.
Yeah,
the people in the house are going to use it. That's money for me. Right. Yeah. Especially that window washer. What is it now? Like $4?
Oh, I don't even know. It was two full gallons. I paid $10 for everything today. And that included a 23-inch television. Yeah. I can't even remember. It's in my van. If I would have had more time, I probably would have, looked through it one more time just to memorize what all I got. But I was just throwing stuff in a pile as fast as I could because I wanted to get back for this podcast. But they had a lot of vampire stuff. They had, I would say there was 3 bookshelves of hardback books that were Jack the Ripper books.
Cool.
All like Jack the Ripper stories. And I bid like $65, up to $65, and they still went for more. But the problem is they don't open up the books to show you if the first editions or any of them are signed. Because if one of them was signed, it was like $200. And if it's not signed, it's worth like $10.
Yeah. So big difference.
And the first editions are worth more, but I didn't buy those, but I was hoping the yard sale that they had at this house might contain some things. And there was a guy that I felt like there was one guy there that was a reseller, and he was at my level. Like we were looking for the same stuff. And he found 2 sealed VHS tapes of like these obscure vampire movies.
Oh man.
And he said, I just looked it up, and one just sold last week for $35. And I forget, I didn't hear what he said about the other one, but I was talking to him a little bit. He found like a really cool old Walkman and some stuff. There was just, you have tables upon tables full of stuff. And then under was like boxes full of clothing. But when you would lift up the clothing, it's like, oh, wow, there's electronics under here. There's all sorts of cool gadgets. So always look under the tables. I find more money under the tables sometimes more than on the tables.
Same.
So that was my day. Home runs and strikeouts. Best and worst sales of the week. Dennis, what were your best and worst sales of the week?
Well, my home run, it was actually going to be my bolo. Isn't that funny how that whole thing works? So I think I'll go with that, and I do have a prop for that. And I'm giving you guys a bolo and a home run, a double whammy right here. This is the one this is hard for me to share because this has been my little secret for about 3 years. Okay. But right here, you're going to see it. All right. Anybody know what this thing is?
Oh yeah. It's a fan. Yep. For old homes that don't have like ventilation.
Yep. So it'll go in the corner like that.
Of a door.
And there's the price.
Yeah. $3.
$3. Okay.
I've never thought about picking them up really, but
I have been selling these for $50 to $60.
Wow.
Each. And I've been selling them for about 3 years, and they sell, I'd say within less than 2 weeks. I can't keep, I mean, most of them will sell within a few days.
Yeah.
But I'll do like $12.95 shipping, and then like $58.99, $59.99, something like that. And they are like that. So you can get this brown color. All right. Yeah. Or it's like an off-white color. Those are the 2 versions that I've seen. This one, I haven't even listed this one yet. I just picked this one up on Tuesday, but they fly. You can find them at yard sales. You can find them at thrift stores. The last group of them, I found 4 of them, and I was at a Salvation Army. I paid $4.99 each, and threw them all in the cart real quick. And I mean, people look, but they're just like, whatever. He can't be a reseller because those things aren't worth any money. Look them up. The brand is called Entry Air. Right there, Entry Air.
Yeah.
And they sell routinely, and they sell for pretty good money, $50-$60. So
is that plastic or metal?
It's plastic. Okay, it's just plastic with a plastic blade, and then the little long cord, because it's going to go in the top of a door frame, and then it's got the little click, on and off thing here. Mm-hmm. So I sold 4 of them this week. to one guy, and it was just under $200.
Wow.
And like I said, I only had $5 into each one of them. So that was my home run. I mean, it's, again, home run and a bolo because it's such a good one. I haven't seen anybody else mention these things, but now I probably just blew it up. But
yeah. Well, hopefully there's not too many people watching this that live close to you or that hit your thrift stores.
Right. My strikeout was some damaged speakers, and there's nothing I could do about this. I wrapped them. They're in ceiling speakers, so they have a flat grill, and they would go into the ceiling and then be flush, with the ceiling. True Audio was the name. It's not a great brand, but they were $75 plus shipping. They get there, and it's fine. And then like 5 days later, the guy emails me and says, I just unboxed them and they're damaged. I said, okay, what are you going to, can you have pictures? Can you send me some pictures of it? Not that I don't believe them, and sure enough, the end of the grills were all smushed in. And then on one of the speakers, there's like a plastic housing was completely snapped off.
From the shipping.
That's what he's claiming. So I asked for pictures of the box, and it looked a little beat up, but nothing protruding, nothing punctured or anything like that. So I refunded him the money right away. And then I opened a claim with FedEx. So what's weird is, and I know I'm going off here, but I sent it through UPS Ground Advantage, or USPS Ground Advantage. It got there, boom, 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 whatever. It has supposedly $100 insurance on it. When I punched in the number on the USPS website and I punched in the tracking number, I noticed that it's not that normal. It begins with a 9. This began with a 270, and it kept kicking it back. And I kept looking at the tracking. I'm like, this went through USPS Ground Advantage. Technically, no. You had to put it into the FedEx website because it's a FedEx tracking number. I did not know this. And I was like, what am I doing wrong here? So I put it into the FedEx. I got the claim, put the pictures in. They said they received it. They're investigating. And who knows? Who knows if I'll get my $70-something back. But to me, it's a strikeout because I ship very fragile items all the time. And very rarely do I have something like this happen. But so far right now, I'm out $75.
Are you positive they were yours and not?
Yeah,
his?
It wasn't like a super high-end brand. So I'm like, guy, if you're buying these to pretend they're damaged and then to send them back, you'd go after a better brand than these things, So
it's still $70 though, but
yeah. But I mean, you look at the sell-through rate on them and it's terrible. I got them for free. So I listed them cheap and I just wanted them to go. But I mean, these things were wrapped. It had supports in the corners. I mean, they couldn't move. So I'm like, I have no idea how these things got broken other than it got crushed. Maybe there's just no way,
Sounds a little fishy, but
yeah, they all, I mean,
yeah. I shipped a Roseville. Is that right? Roseville,
pottery,
a pottery bowl one time, a huge bowl, like 15 inches. Someone paid $150 for it. I shipped it UPS and I put bubble wrap around both sides. So it was pretty secure in the box. I shook the box really hard and I'm like, it's moving in there, but I think this box is thick enough that it'll protect it. And it arrived shattered when they opened it up. This lady was so upset. And I'm like, it's my bad. I probably should have filled the whole thing up with packing peanuts first.
Yeah.
Speaking of packing peanuts, that's something else I did this week. On Facebook Marketplace, somebody had a listing for free cardboard boxes and packing materials. They had just moved. Awesome. The garage was full. So they advertised it in the morning. And I said, I'll be over there around 3:00. And she's like, well, people are plan on showing up all day today. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm going to call her or send her a message right before I come over just to make sure. And so I'm like, is anything left? And she's like, yeah, a lot of the boxes might be gone, but there's tons of packing material. I filled up 6 huge garbage bags full of packing peanuts for free.
That's amazing.
And you would pay probably $30 to $40 for each one of these bags if you bought them brand new.
Absolutely.
And so I didn't have room. Like my warehouse, I got a corner of my warehouse just full of garbage bags. I did take a bunch of boxes too, as much as I could fit in my vehicle. I had a truck, actually, a box truck, and I filled the back of the box truck up with stuff. So I'm set unpacking peanuts
That's
for a while.
Amazing. When was this?
Yeah. What's that?
When was this?
Just a couple days ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
When's it? Yeah.
That's great.
When free packing supplies come up on Facebook, you got to pull the trigger quick. You know, it's funny. We don't talk about our home runs and strikeouts with each other before the show. My home run is a 1954 vintage, well, obviously vintage, box fan, General Electric box fan.
Wow.
It is rare. Like I have only seen a few of these, and I joined a bunch of face group, like metal fan, antique fan, vintage fan groups, trying to have someone help me date this thing. And I found one website with one little bit of information that said it was a 1954 based on the knob and the, but it was like real, all metal, real heavy.
Yeah.
I paid $20 for it at an estate sale, and I was hoping to get like $400 for it. I disassembled it one day and cleaned the entire thing, shined all the grate, or what do you call it? The cover, I don't know, the grate.
Grill or
the grill, I guess. Yeah. And oiled it all up, ran beautiful. Ended up, it was like a year ago I did that, and I've been slowly dropping the price for the last year, but I finally took an offer of $153 today, or 2 days ago. And
is it square or is it the round one?
23 inches square.
Square, okay.
Maybe they don't have as much, they call them window fans or box fans, one or the other.
They move some serious air.
It does. You don't want to put your finger in that thing.
No.
It will chop the end of your finger right off.
Yep.
You can sharpen it up and use it as a slicer. Stick your carrots through there. My strikeout was a Singer handheld vacuum cleaner. Now I sold it for $9. And you could say it's rare because if you look up Singer vacuum cleaners on eBay, there are none listed, and mine's the only one that is sold in the last 3 years. I'm assuming it's the sewing machine company.
Sure.
I didn't know they made vacuums, and they're so rare that apparently I have the only one. But didn't have that great a suction. It wasn't that great of a pickup, but just because it was rare, I thought maybe it had some value. Little handheld vacuums. But I took an offer of $9 and getting rid of it. Don't buy Singer vacuum cleaners because first off, you'll never find one.
I was going to say, I didn't think they made them.
Well, Bolos and Nolos, one thing to be on the lookout for and one thing you wouldn't buy again. You've already shared your Bolo. What is your Nolo?
There. Look at that.
We can look at it again. I just can't believe that.
It's so great. I just want a case of these. Yeah. I just want to find a bunch every single week.
Yeah. Maybe you should just start making them. That's your Nolo.
This is my Nolo. Do you guys know what this is?
That would be, what's that brand?
Not even the brand, just this style. Well, so the style, and there's a bunch of companies that make it, is called brown drip glaze.
Okay.
And then your most common ones will be Hull, Hull, Hall, Hall, that false graph stuff, and then this brand.
False graph with a P, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is McCoy.
Yeah. Okay.
This stuff is everywhere, and I stopped picking it up. I was infatuated with McCoy. It's a U.S. company. It's mid-century. I love it, but I cannot even get rid of these things. It's almost as if everybody caught on to the brown drip stuff the last like 2 years and then just flooded eBay. Yeah. So I was just looking through eBay, and of course, there are exceptions. There are some nice pieces in here that have sold for $25, $35, $40. But it's not the most common stuff. There's like this weird deviled egg, tray that sold for $40. A very decorative dish with like leaves and stuff on it, $50. But the most common stuff you're going to find, these mugs, you know, it's like $4 or $5, maybe 10 if you have a couple of them. And then what kills this is it's 2 pounds. It's just under 2 pounds.
Yeah.
So they're going to spend, you know, $8 on this and probably $10 on shipping. And I don't know who's going to spend almost $20 for this when these are at almost every thrift store for 50 cents a buck. So, you know, don't run out and buy these. Definitely, if it's a weird piece or if it's a, you know, a big tray or something like that, definitely search them up. But for now, I've stopped buying brown drip glaze.
My NOLO this week is a Funko Pop. My mother-in-law gave me like 6 Funko Pops for free to sell, and I finally sold the 6th one. I got $4 for it, plus shipping. It was Luke Skywalker,
cool,
with Yoda, $4, and that was an offer, and I'm like, I'm glad I got something for it because it was going to go to Goodwill. But the NOLOs, my NOLO is I also sold a dog collar. It was like a kind of a choke chain, like for a vicious dog, maybe. I found it in a Walmart parking lot, laying on the ground, and it was still in the bag. So
awesome.
I'm like, this thing's got to be worth something. It's kind of heavy. It's made out of metal. Yeah, well, that was like 2 years ago, and it finally just sold. I took an offer for $6. I think I was asking 15 for it.
Oh.
And so I looked up dog collars on Terapeak just to see, and there's a lot of them out there, and most of them sell for $10 or less. So stay away from dog collars. Moving on to my favorite segment, customer service. Talk about your most interesting customer interactions from the last week. Do you have any customer service stories to tell?
Other than the return, I had a DVD that I sent out that went from Massachusetts to California and then to Pennsylvania. I just basically, she's like, can you explain why it's in California? I said, no, I have no idea why. I said, let's give it a couple more days and it might, you know, the tracking might be back. And sure enough, it did. This was a media mail through the post office. No idea why. The other one I had, this is great. This just happened today, actually. I'm packing up orders. It's a Friday. You guys are hearing this on a Monday, but on Fridays I pack orders and I'm packing up. I'm going to give away my next week's bolo. But anyway, GeoTracks. They're from the early 2000s to about the mid 2000s.
Okay.
Little battery operated trains. You can get the tracks for them. You can get all different cars for them, construction. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. My kids had them. They were really cool. In any case, I fell into a bunch of them. Big giant Rubbermaid tub for $20. And right away, I started dividing everything up. Anyway, I put the tracks on there. They've got a whole bunch of different lots, listings that I did. And somebody wanted to buy 2 of the listings and sent me 2 offers and said, I'll pay shipping on both. Okay. And I accepted the offer. And that was like 2 days ago. And so now I'm packing it up. And then I see a message that says, my kid, you know where this is going. My kid got into my eBay and I did not make this purchase. And I'm like, wow, that's real interesting for a kid to get into your eBay, send me offers. I send them back a counter offer. They countered it again, and then they bought it, and then they paid for it. That's a pretty smart kid with eBay. I didn't even get into it. I'm just like, look, you know, all you had to say was, I don't want it. Is there a way to cancel it?
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to have to get into, you know, I don't believe those stories. And I don't think the person sending that believes it either, because it's not true. It's all boxed up. This is all boxed up. All I have to do is hit the print. And I'm like, I'm just not going to do that. And then, you know, what's the best case scenario out of that? They keep it, I guess. But they asked for it to be canceled. When they can't cancel it, you only have what, like 24 hours to cancel a sale?
I don't know.
You can go and cancel it after you buy it, but then after a certain time frame, like, you're not able to do that. You have to reach out to the seller. And that's what they did. So I'm like, fine. I don't remember sitting down for story time with your kid and him making up a story where he bought these things. And so fine. I just said, cancel. It cost me almost $100, which hurt because I'm kind of needing that sale this week. Yeah. Worst case scenario is they get it and then they just say, oh, item not as described.
Yeah, then you're paying for it.
Then I'm paying. And the shipping was, I think it was like $28 or something to ship this. So I'm like, I see where it's going. So I'm like, let me just cancel it. So of course I block them right after that. Like, there's no way you're going to be rebuying anything if you're playing games like that. So
you could just say, well, this would be a good lesson for your kid and ship it anyhow. Make your kid pay for it out of his allowance.
I was so 50-50 on just saying, I'm just shipping it. But then I see at the end of it, I'm like, I know this person had like 300 feedback. So they know how eBay works. This isn't one of those 1 or 2 feedbacks. So I'm like, if you ship this, it's coming back to you and you're paying for it. So I'm like, yeah. So that's it. So it's relisted, and you watch, I'll sell it for full price. That's the way the game works sometimes.
And the thing that hurts about when you refund like $100, my theory is, like, eBay caps me sometimes at how much money I can make each day. And if you have a big sale that goes through in the morning, then it seems like your sales stink the rest of the day. I've noticed these little trends when I've been paying attention. And then when they cancel it, it's just like, well, if they wouldn't have bought it in the first place, I might have had a better, I would have had a chance to still make that money. No proof that that's actually happening, but I've just seen it coincidentally many times. A good morning, you don't sell anything the rest of the day. You don't sell anything in the morning, you have a good evening. It seems like it's one or the other. My customer service issue, I got a couple of them. Someone had bought a cookbook from me for $9 and then messaged me and said, I moved and I hadn't changed my address in eBay yet. Could you please ship it to my new address? And I said, sure. Now, there's a lot of theories. I hear a lot of resellers saying that you should tell them to cancel it and have them rebuy it with the new address in eBay because you're not covered. And I hear that, but if that's the case, why does eBay give us the ability to edit the address if they wouldn't cover us? I have a text from them telling me to ship it to this address. All I have to do is call up at eBay and say, look, they told me to ship this to another address. Why wouldn't I be protected? But I hear so many people say that don't do it, cancel it, because you're not protected if something happens to it, if it doesn't show delivered or whatever. And I'm like, but then don't give us the ability to edit the address.
To edit,
because there's no other reason that edit button's there.
Right. And then you have the message saved. eBay can read those messages from the buyer requesting you to change the address. So, I mean, I do it. I do it for people.
I change it all the time. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't change it this time. I was shipping it was like 2 days later. I'm shipping up all my items and I have like an hour to get everything done. And I'm just flying through all my packing and printing my labels. And then this morning, the lady's like, yeah, I see that you shipped it to my old address after I asked you not to. So I just expect all my money back and good luck getting that back. That's what she said.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. So I sent it media mail. I don't know. I sent cookbooks media mail. So I printed a label to go from a new label. I paid for another label that goes directly to the lady's new address. I put it in an envelope and I sent it to the current resident of that current address and asked them, because it should arrive before media mail. If media mail is going to be slower. So hopefully my first class envelope makes it there and they're going to open it up and says, when this package arrives, this is what happened. The person put the wrong address. Would you just slap this label on this box and stick it in the mailbox? And I put my email address if they wanted to let me know via email if they did or not. And we'll see if it happens.
Guys, that is thinking outside the box right there. That is amazing. I never would have thought of something like that.
Because I mean, I could have just gave her money back, but I said, give me a couple days to see if I can fix this. I could be just wasting my money because if they don't do it, no. Yeah, I could cancel that shipping label if they don't use it. Because if it never gets scanned, I can cancel it up to like, I don't know, 2 weeks or something. I don't know how long it is. So that was
it's great.
Yeah. And then I told her what I was going to do. And then she's like, well, you know what? She's like, my son still lives in that town. We're talking Pennsylvania to Tennessee. So my son was going to drive by the house and maybe knock on the door and tell them. And I'm like, well, here's what I did. So we'll see what happens. The other thing I did, and it was I think it was a bonehead move on my part. Somebody bought a telephone, a vintage telephone from me, a rotary dial wall mounted telephone. And eBay sent me a message saying that do not pay this or do not ship this item. This person's account has been suspended. We wanted to let you know that a bid or order for the listing below was canceled because of an issue with the buyer's account. And then said that we've canceled this person's account. And says, here's what you should do. Don't complete the sale or ship the item. Don't communicate any further with this person. If they request a payment or a refund, don't send it. If a payment was processed, a refund has not been issued yet, just in case you've already shipped the item. And if you've already sent it, contact eBay. Well, it's sitting there in my list of items that I still need to ship. eBay didn't remove it. And I'm like, well, I don't want to see this there anymore. And so anyhow, I went and canceled the order, and then hit a button. And then I'm like, oh shoot, I just sent them a refund. So I don't know if eBay was going to take that money out of my account or what they were going to do. So I might have to call eBay and say, hey, can I have my money back that the scammer or whoever it was used? That was a bonehead mistake. I don't know what I was thinking.
It's such a weird thing. I had one of those in the past, and actually one of my good friends, Fisher Flips, just had one.
Okay.
And it said the same thing. Don't cancel, this person, blah, blah, blah. It's, we closed their account, whatever the case is. And that little thing was still sitting there saying, you need to ship. And he actually called them and said, well, what about this task that I need to take, because after so many days, it's going to be a late, it's going to say late. And then, so they're like, no. They said, it's okay. Don't worry about that. We've already, his account's closed and it's nothing. Sure enough, he gets a ding.
Are you serious?
For a late shipment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you win those? I don't know. I don't know like what they want you to do there.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't say do not cancel it anywhere.
It just says don't send it and don't, like they don't want you talking to them. Right. But he got a ding for that, for a late shipment.
So that was my customer service bonehead move of the week. All right, let's move on. Time machine. You can travel back to a specific year. What would you buy then to resell now? We went with 1959, I think is the year. Dennis, what would you buy in 1959 to resell today?
Well, I was looking through some stuff that I found at the dump. I was reminiscing about these great sales I made from this Rubbermaid container full of old dolls, Barbies, some weird Mattel Barbies, and some other line that they did with these old small ones called Little Kiddles. And Little Kiddle, Liddle Kiddle. They were crazy money. I mean, they're small. They're like 2 inches. Okay. In any case. And I said, I didn't have one of these. Okay. But I'm like, what Barbies are worth a lot? I had a lot of the clothing and that stuff sold. As soon as I listed it, it was gone. So I said, well, what if I actually had the Barbie that this clothing went to? And I was looking up from 1959, what you want to get is what they call the ponytail Barbie. It was one of the originals, and they all have different, eyeshadow or, the blonde hair. They have one with dark hair, and these are going crazy. Here's one that's sold for $989.
Wow.
Here's one. These are all out of the package. There is no packaging. Here's one with no clothing or anything at all for $135. Here's that classic one with the black and white striped bathing suit for $550. another one for $425. This one came with some clothing, and some of the original paperwork went for $1,200. So yeah, if it's 1959, I'm probably buying as many Barbies as I can and just leave them in the package. Here's another one. The vintage Barbie ponytail, the stand. It's a little plastic disc with the little where you can put the feet.
Yep.
$3,500. It's just nuts. Wow. Here's another one. Here's a very early 1959 Barbie with blonde hair, brown eyeliner, $2,300. Another one, $3,000. I mean, the low prices here are like $165, $192, $125, $150.
Yeah.
$388. I'm buying Barbies. I'm buying the original Barbie and then all the clothing I can buy. So crazy return there. And those are all sold listings. Those aren't asking. The asking is crazy. They're asking like $5,000 to $10,000, but the sold listings are in the thousands of dollars.
Jeez. Well, mine's kind of a weird one. I mean, you could go to the Mickey Mantle baseball card, but that's the obvious answer. Those could sell for thousands. But my father-in-law buys pedal cars, like the old kids can sit in and pedal and steer and everything.
Yep.
And he restores them. So he'll find a really bad one, hammer out the dings, repaint them, buy all the accessories for them. For Christmas, my wife and I found a pedal car at a yard sale last year, and I asked him, "Hey, do you want this?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, they're asking 150." And he's like, I can't give more than 100 for it. It was a fire truck.
Yep. I know the one you're talking about.
Okay, bro. What? So
there's the bell in the front, the little bell,
the bell and the two ladders in the back.
The ladders. Yeah.
Now I don't think it's 1959, but I'm telling that story to tell my story. And I said, "Well, if you still have it at the end of the yard sale, here's my card. Give me a call."
Yep. And
they did call me the next day, the last day of the yard sale, and said, "If you want it for 100, it's yours." So I ended up buying him the pedal car, and then I told him that it had already sold, and then we gave it to him for Christmas. And he just recently restored it. And if I could figure out how to show a picture on the software, I'd bring it up, but I didn't have time to get the picture around today. But maybe I'll put it on Instagram. He just restored it and sent me a picture last week, and he says we told him he could sell it if he wants to when he's done, but he likes it so much he wants to add it to his collection. But I'm going to go back to 1959 and buy a pedal car. There was a Ferrari pedal car that just recently sold for $2,000 restored. And then there was some unrestored ones that are selling for about $500 or $600. It takes up a huge footprint in your warehouse, and you wouldn't be able to put it in the storage bin, but I think they're cool, and I'd probably buy a couple. I don't know what they would sell now if they're in mint condition, but probably higher than whatever all these other ones have sold for.
Yeah, because all the ones you're seeing now are probably restored.
Yeah.
Right.
And
it's only original once.
Yeah. I think my father-in-law said there's like a catalog. He can order reproduction stickers and decals and stuff, but so they're not original anymore, but it's still desirable. He restores them for other people too. They pay him to do it. That's just his little hobby he does on the side. He's a machinist, so he's got every piece of equipment you can. He rebuilds car engines. He loves muscle cars. So that's.
I think I saw one getting restored on like Pawn Stars. I think they bought one. They brought it to some guy, and he restored the whole thing. Yeah. I think it was that fire engine one. But to get the metal smooth again, and then the body filler, and to find all the parts, and they had to make some parts for it, and then they spray it, and it looks amazing. They're so cool, very cool.
I'll put it on Instagram if I can remember, but all of our information is down in the episode credits. Story time. An interesting story of reselling events from your past or present. Dennis, you have a story for us?
I have another one of my thoughts. Story time / reselling thoughts. I think last week I talked about what keeps me driven and all of that. And I mentioned how thankful I am that, I feel blessed that I get to do this full time. So to build on that, just the freedoms that this job gives you and allows you to do things that you would not normally be able to do in a, just a regular 9 to 5 job, such as be with your kids more, go do things that you love, make your own schedule. Oh, you don't like that schedule? You get to change it. You want to source on Tuesdays. Okay, how about you source on Tuesdays and Thursdays? You want to package in the morning? I can't this morning. I have something going on. I'm going to package stuff up at night. There isn't another job that I know of that you can just, within, waking up in the morning saying, I'm going to change it up. And it's just so rewarding to be able to do that. Now, given stress does come with that, because it's all on you. I mean, you decide, oh, I'm just going to watch Netflix all day. You're going to pay the price. I mean, there really is very little supervision, if any, especially if you're your own boss and you're running this thing as a business and not a hobby. You have to hustle and you have to be disciplined. But it's extremely rewarding, and there really isn't something else I'd rather be doing than reselling.
It's like yesterday or a couple days ago, my wife was like, she wanted to go somewhere Friday morning today. And can I stay home and wake up the 3-year-old and hang out with him till she gets back? And so that was my morning. So yeah, I mean, that was something that if I had a regular job, she wouldn't have been able to go do what she needed to do. So it's a win-win for both of us.
Absolutely. Yeah. We did it a lot when my kids were small, and it was hard. I'd have to take time off from work. I'd have to, we'd flip a coin. All right, who's going to stay home with the sick kid? Now it's like, I'm here, I'm here. We'll just work the schedules around, what everybody has to do. And it's just so nice to have. And it's, saving money by not having sitters and people coming in to take your kids to school. It's saving money by being home. And I love it.
So my story time is, I went to an estate sale on Thursday, and I won a closet full of men's clothing for $1. And I didn't want to win it because it looked like a lot of work to clean out this closet, but it had, I'm going to say 40 shirts, 20 pairs of pants, and 10 pairs of sneakers, shoes, tennis shoes, depends on what part of the country you live in. Looking through all the clothes yesterday, as I was throwing them in my van and then going through them after I got home, I didn't look up comps, but I'm pretty sure the most valuable article in all the clothing were the hangers.
No way.
I'm saying the hangers were cheap. So the clothing was all.
I'm like, did you find like some hardwood hangers or cedar?
There was a pair of extra large Crocs. Size 12 to 13 Crocs, men's Crocs. But other than that, it's like brands I've never heard of. King Size is the brand name. I think I just might have done the place a favor because it might all go straight to Goodwill. I'll go through everything I'm like, I got to find something in there to make me some money, but at least I'll be able to use the hangers. Yeah. So that's my lesson. Stop buying clothes unless I know specifically what they are. Like this estate sale runs mystery lots all the time, and it says mystery men's lot. And I'm like, okay, there could be some good stuff in there. I don't know, but you would learn my lesson. If there's some good stuff in there, they've probably separated it out already.
That's what I think. Yep.
It looked like it was a whole house clean out of a large man, extra large.
Well, I mean, extra large and very large clothing normally sells pretty good versus your small and extra small. I can't sell any of that stuff, but the bigger the clothing, sometimes you do well with it, even with off brands. So check the brands anyway, and check the comps on it, and then go over to Poshmark and check it too. They might be better on there.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're nearing the end of our podcast. We want to do a little segment each week called Question of the Week. We'll ask our viewers a question. And Dennis, what's the question this week that we came up with?
So we already talked about 1959. We mentioned pedal cars. We mentioned Barbies. So the question is, you travel back to 1959. What are you buying specifically to make a profit on in 2024 and the future? Just let us know some of the things that you would be out there buying in bulk or trying to find, and be specific. Let us know exactly what it is. Thanks.
Yeah. The more unique and funny, the better. That concludes episode 4 of the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast. Dennis, you have any closing thoughts?
I do. This week is I'm trying to get a better week. All right. I want to get back in the consistency, and I think it has a lot to do with inventory. So this week I'm going to buy another mixed media, one of those mystery pallets with a whole bunch of stuff in it. I'm going to buy one of those early part of the week, and I should have most of it sorted out by the time we record on Friday next. So I should have some pretty good stories for you then.
Yeah. Do you have a source that you can buy from anytime you want to?
I do.
Is it a Gaylord pallet?
It is.
Like 4x4? Yeah. 4x4x4. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's all full of CDs or DVDs too?
Video games, DVDs, Blu-rays, cassettes, VHS, sometimes like CD holders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's about 450 to 500 pounds.
Wow.
And I will get one at least every month. So this will be my second one in a month.
Okay.
Like this stuff here in the back. It's normally what I get. But the last one, I didn't get many video games, but I got a whole bunch of sealed VHS, which was just awesome.
Yeah.
Weird, like Japanese Godzilla type stuff. I don't know. There's a name for that. Like those monsters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know it. I don't know what the name would be. Yeah.
There's a specific name for it. But anyway, there was a ton of that stuff and it flew. So should be fun. Should be a good week.
Well, I'll bring that up next week and we'll ask how that went and what'd you find.
Cool.
All right. Well, that's it. If you like our show, give us a thumbs up. We like interactions. It helps us in the algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't, and drop us a note. Say hi. We've been getting several people saying they like our podcast, so we're going to keep doing it, this format, and maybe just tweaking it a little every week until we feel like it's like a soup, right? My wife makes a soup. She keeps adding ingredients and then adding a little more and then adding this ingredient because she put too much of this in maybe, and till it's perfected. And
I like that.
My wife makes killer soups. She had a business called the Soup Mama. So I've been blessed with great soups for all my married life. And that's it. So we'll see you next week, everyone.
See you guys. Have a great week.
Take care.